What's good, family? It's the Yungavelle here, back at it with another video. Hope you guys are doing great. It's the last day of the year, so I'm bringing in the year how I see myself, which is a multimillionaire, have the ideal relationships in my life that I want with my woman, with my family, with my friends, with my business. That's how I'm moving in mentally. So, with that being said, let's jump right into today's topic. So, I might have mentioned this in a previous video that I was watching a podcast or an interview about how to engage neuroplasticity at later phases in your life. And if you guys don't know what neuroplasticity is, it's just the ability of the brain to modify itself. And myself was under the perception that once your brain is at a certain age, it stops developing. You know, we all know when you're younger, the brain is most malleable and neuroplastic. So it's when you're younger is when your brain is easily shaped. So what intrigued me about this interview was that they were basically saying how your brain can still change when you're older. And the golden ticket to changing your brain, to hacking your brain, is by changing your behavior. I will repeat that. The golden ticket to hack your brain is to change your behavior. Now you think that's so simple, or so like, oh wow, that's pretty straightforward. But let me tell you why it's not straightforward. Because when we think about changing ourselves, when we think about changing the way we behave, a lot of people are under the misconception that, you know what, first thing that I'm going to do is change my thoughts. I'm going to change my thoughts, my belief systems. I'm going to change, my perceptions about certain things. And then comes the behavior. That is not how it works. It works best by starting from the end. So you start with the behavior, and then everything follows suit after. Now, David Goggins, I reference him a lot. He's a great example of this. I think I might have mentioned this story before, but I'm going to mention it again because it's so great. They were measuring his brain, and he was in a lab where the lab was testing things like confidence and fear, the reaction neurochemically to that. So they were doing a survey. David Goggins was among other people in the survey. So they would ask, like, what are you guys most afraid of? What are some things you guys are afraid of? And David Goggins immediately was like, I don't like sharks. So the guy was like, okay, all right, you don't like sharks. He thought it was interesting how David immediately, was just putting it out there, like something that he doesn't like. So they structured it like, okay, they set it up, they got like a virtual reality simulation and stuff like that. And they were like, okay, who wants to go first? David Goggins is like, I'll go first. So he goes straight in. That's the mentality. You don't think about it. You don't think about whatever, run the scenario. Nah, you just go straight in. He's figured out a way to engage neuroplasticity in his brain, or modifying his brain through behavior. You see that? Behavior is where it's at. That's how you hack your brain. So it's like thoughts and perceptions are like, they are kind of complex because you got to deal with belief systems, and it's a lot. They're very complex. Behavior is very concrete. Behavior is very concrete. You can't fake that. You can't dance around that. You go in. You change your behavior, and that's how you hack your brain to become neuroplastic in the ways that are relative to the behavior. Now, I'm not going to go in on how it's really focus is the gateway. You have to focus for a long enough period of time where that focus starts to the focus starts to trigger the mitochondria to release energy and relate it to the activity that is being focused on. I don't want to go too deep into that, but it's great. Man, it is so great because it has to do with norepinephrine and that being the quitting response. But it's a way when you focus on something, like for example, when you start reading a book, you got all these triggers that are trying to pull your attention away. Your norepinephrine is shooting, trying to steer your attention. But if you focus, which is the acetylcholine, that's the chemical associated with focus. If you just stay with it, eventually norepinephrine gets offset by dopamine. Dopamine gets released during set activity and offsets the quitting response of the norepinephrine, which allows you to be in that focused state for longer periods of time, which means that your brain is now being wired to that activity. It is the behavior. Behavior is how you hack your brain. It's not thoughts, and let me think this certain way and then I'll do it. No, it's behavior first. Start from the end first. And it's interesting because I got some notes here. To show up better, to function better, to move away from addictive behaviors, it's not the thoughts first, it's behavior first, then thoughts and perceptions next, which is not how we have been trained to go about it. And this is why I feel like things like going cold turkey with stuff like retention and no fat is so powerful, and why it has a direct correlation to rewire your brain, because you are literally engaging in a behavior. That's what you're doing. You're engaging in things that was really the absence of said behavior that's very addictive to your brain. But that action itself is what is rewiring your brain. And that's why when you come out of, let's say, a 30-day or a 60-day or a 90-day retention cycle, you find that your urges and all those tendencies that you had before don't move you like that anymore. They don't affect you. There isn't a response by your body chemically at the level that it was when you started, because your brain is neuroplastic and you have changed it through your behavior. And this is why I'll praise to the hills retention. And not only retention, but all the healthy habits that come along with when you start to really focus on developing yourself, when you really focus on being the best version of yourself and leveling up. Leveling up is not just about having the right thoughts and having the right perceptions. It's about action. It's about behavior. It's about behavior. So, with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video. But let's move into 2021 with that mindset. And I'm speaking to myself because you guys are a reflection. It's like everything that I say to you guys, I'm really just saying out loud to myself. Because we're all in this together. We're in this together. Let's focus on leveling up this next year. All these other things, these other distractions, doing this for this, like going out of your way to impress people. Who cares what other people think? Do this for yourself, you know? Get your head, stop messing with the wrong women. Let me say, mess only with the right women. Let me speak in terms of positives. Only mess with those people, those scenarios, those behaviors that are conducive to your development. That's what we're going to focus on in 2021. That's what I'm going to focus on in 2021. That's what I'm going to be successful in attracting in 2021, this upcoming year, by holding that space now. So with that being said, I hope you guys got something from this video. Happy New Year. I wish you guys the manifestation of all your desires. If you got something from this, be sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Share to someone who you think might get some benefit from this. Hit that subscription button so you can know when I'm putting more stuff out. The best is yet to come, baby. Let's go. Until next time, like I always say, remember, a greater perspective can lead to a greater connection.